In the days following the decisive victory over the Varakians, the mood across Earth and its allied worlds was one of relief and cautious hope. Captain Laura Bennett knew the fight was over, but the task of rebuilding was just beginning. On Earth, cities celebrated while people mourned and honored those lost in the conflict. Laura stood solemnly at a large gathering in memory of the fallen heroes. Admiral Lucas Grant and Ambassador Nathan Cole joined her, each speaking heartfelt words of gratitude and remembrance. Afterward, Laura visited Dr. Hannah Ellis in her laboratory aboard the Challenger. Hannah was carefully cataloging her findings, ensuring future generations would learn from the war. "Dr. Ellis," Laura said warmly, "your work saved countless lives. Humanity owes you a great debt." Hannah smiled modestly. "I only did what anyone would do, Captain." Laura nodded appreciatively. "You gave us hope when we needed it most." Together, they walked to the ship's observation deck. Kyle Brooks and Olivia Barnes joined them, looking out over Earth. The planet appeared peaceful, a stark contrast to recent chaos. "We've come a long way," Kyle said thoughtfully, "but there's much left to do." "True," Olivia agreed quietly. "Rebuilding won't be easy." Laura looked at each of them, her voice steady and reassuring. "We'll do it together, just like we fought together. We've proven our strength. Now we'll prove our resilience." Days turned into weeks. Earth and its allies began rebuilding rapidly. Cities were repaired, colonies restored, and new defenses established. Ambassador Cole worked tirelessly, strengthening alliances and ensuring peace. One day, a group of leaders from allied planets visited Earth to formalize their unity. Laura and Admiral Grant met them, welcoming their friends warmly. Ambassador Cole addressed the gathering. "This war has shown us the importance of unity. Only together can we ensure lasting peace." The leaders agreed firmly. Plans for ongoing cooperation and mutual defense were quickly established. Later, Laura stood alone on the Challenger's bridge, lost in thought. Olivia approached quietly, sensing her captain's mood. "Captain?" Olivia asked gently. "Everything okay?" Laura turned, smiling softly. "Yes, just thinking about what we've achieved." "It's incredible," Olivia smiled warmly. "We did something extraordinary." Laura nodded, proud yet humble. "We proved humanity's potential." Time passed swiftly, and humanity continued to prosper. New technology emerged from the war's lessons, benefiting countless people. Dr. Ellis led many breakthroughs, ensuring humanity's preparedness for future threats. Meanwhile, Kyle Brooks became a respected military leader, training new generations of soldiers. He emphasized honor, courage, and unity, ensuring humanity would always be ready to defend itself. Laura, now widely respected as a symbol of humanity's strength, received numerous honors. But she remained humble, always highlighting her crew's bravery and sacrifice. One evening, Laura gathered her closest friends and crew for a quiet dinner aboard the Challenger. Admiral Grant, Ambassador Cole, Hannah, Kyle, and Olivia were all present. The atmosphere was relaxed and joyful. "We've come through a lot," Laura said warmly, raising her glass. "To our friendship, bravery, and the peace we fought so hard to win." Everyone toasted cheerfully, enjoying the rare moment of peace and camaraderie. Later, Laura stood at the observation window once more. Earth glowed beautifully beneath them, vibrant and full of life. "Captain," Admiral Grant said quietly, joining her, "we've built something special here." Laura nodded thoughtfully. "Yes, we have, but we must always stay vigilant." Grant smiled, reassuringly, "And we will. Because leaders like you inspire us." Laura felt deep gratitude. "It's an honor to serve alongside people like you." Years passed, and humanity continued thriving, protected by their unity and strength. Varakian threats faded into history, becoming lessons for future generations. Laura eventually retired from active duty, dedicating her time to inspiring younger leaders. She often spoke publicly, sharing stories of bravery and unity. One day, During a peaceful ceremony marking years since the war, Laura stood before a large crowd. Her voice clear and strong, she reminded everyone the peace we have today came from sacrifice and unity. Always remember, our strength lies in working together. As she finished, applause erupted warmly. Laura felt pride and hope, knowing humanity was stronger than ever. Later, as the sun set beautifully, Laura walked alone on a quiet beach. The gentle waves soothed her mind, and she smiled softly, content in knowing the future was secure. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged victorious. They had learned that courage, unity, and compassion could overcome even the darkest threats. Laura Bennett knew this legacy would endure, guiding humanity forward into a bright and hopeful future. Following their hard-earned victory at the Andros colony, Captain Laura Bennett knew the war against the Varakians had reached a critical stage. Humanity had fought bravely and proved their strength, but they couldn't wait for another attack. It was time to strike the Varakians directly to end the threat once and for all. Back on Earth, Laura and Admiral Lucas Grant met with Ambassador Nathan Cole and Dr. Hannah Ellis. They gathered around a large table, planning their next move carefully. The Varakian homeworld is heavily defended, Admiral Grant said seriously. It will be incredibly dangerous. Laura nodded, her expression firm. But it's our only way to end this war. If we destroy their central command, their forces will collapse. Ambassador Cole spoke calmly, his voice determined. Our allies are ready to support us. They've suffered under the Varakians too. Dr. Ellis shared vital information about the enemy's homeworld defenses. Their central command structure is deep underground. We'll need a precise strike to succeed. Laura took a deep breath, knowing the risks. Then we must be accurate. Prepare the fleet. We leave soon. Preparations moved swiftly. Earth's fleet, joined by allies from across the galaxy, assembled quickly. The Challenger stood at the forefront, ready to lead the crucial mission. Before departure, Laura addressed the entire fleet, her voice steady and inspiring. Today we fight not just for Earth, but for every world terrorized by the Varakians. Let's show them humanity's courage and strength. The fleet moved toward the Varakian homeworld, tension high but spirit strong. Laura carefully monitored their approach, her mind sharp and focused. As they neared the enemy's planet, alarm sounded. Olivia Barnes announced, "Enemy fleet incoming." "They're prepared," Laura reacted swiftly. "All ships, engage now." "Fighters, clear a path to the planet's surface." The space battle began fiercely. Explosions filled the void as human and Varakian ships clashed. Major Natalie Price led fighter squadrons skillfully, pushing through enemy lines toward the planet. "Captain," Olivia reported urgently, "we have a clear path." Laura immediately ordered Kyle Brooks and his ground team into action. "Commander, take the shuttle. Strike their command center." Kyle acknowledged quickly. Understood. The shuttle descended rapidly, expertly navigating through enemy defenses. On the surface, Kyle's team moved swiftly toward the Varakian base. The terrain was harsh and heavily defended. Fierce battles erupted as they fought their way inside. Gunfire echoed loudly, but the human forces pressed forward courageously. "We're close," Kyle reported clearly to Laura. Encountering heavy resistance, but still advancing. Laura kept the fleet fighting vigorously, protecting Kyle's team as best they could. Dr. Ellis's gas weapons provided valuable assistance, weakening enemy ships significantly. Inside the Varakian base, Kyle's team finally reached the central command chamber. It was heavily guarded, but the human forces were determined. Olivia guided their movements from orbit, providing essential information on enemy positions. Kyle planted explosive charges carefully around the chamber. He knew timing was critical. As they finished, Varakian reinforcements approached quickly. "We must hurry," Kyle shouted. "Evacuate now." The team retreated rapidly, fighting off enemy attacks every step of the way. They reached the shuttle, barely escaping enemy fire as it lifted off the surface. "Charges set. Kyle confirmed urgently. Detonating now. Explosions erupted deep beneath the planet's surface. The central command structure shattered completely, destroying critical Varakian control systems. Laura watched from orbit as chaos erupted among Varakian ships. Without their central command, the enemy fleet became disorganized and vulnerable. Now, Laura commanded decisively, push forward. End this fight. Human and allied forces attacked fiercely, quickly overpowering the disorganized Varakians. The enemy fleet began retreating rapidly, scattering across space. We've won, Olivia said, relief and pride in her voice. Laura exhaled slowly, relief washing over her. Confirm with all ships. Secure the area. Back aboard the Challenger, Kyle's team returned safely. Laura met them personally, gratitude clear in her eyes. Well done, Commander. Kyle nodded, exhausted but proud. We did what had to be done. Admiral Grant communicated from Earth, his expression serious but relieved. Captain Bennett, congratulations. Humanity owes you and your crew everything. Laura smiled slightly. This was a victory for all of us. Together, we've shown the galaxy humanity's strength. The Challenger and fleet returned to Earth triumphantly. People celebrated joyfully, honoring their bravery and sacrifice. Yet Laura remained thoughtful. She knew rebuilding would take time. But humanity had proven capable of standing firm against even the fiercest predators. Standing quietly on the Challenger's bridge, Laura gazed at Earth, peaceful again. Humanity had faced incredible challenges and emerged stronger. She knew their future, though uncertain, was bright. Together, humanity had shown they could overcome anything. With the vital Varakian data in their possession, Captain Laura Bennett and Admiral Lucas Grant quickly gathered the commanders of Earth's fleet. They carefully studied the Varakian movements, determining exactly where the enemy planned there. Next massive assault. Laura stood at the center of the crowded briefing room, her voice clear and firm. According to the data, the Varakians are preparing to strike the Andros colony. It's a critical strategic point for us. We must protect it at all costs. Commander Kyle Brooks nodded thoughtfully. If we lose Andros, our supply lines will break. It's crucial we defend it successfully. Agreed. Admiral Grant added solemnly. This will likely be our toughest battle yet. Laura took a deep breath. We'll set up defenses immediately. Our fleet will intercept the Varakians before they reach the colony. Dr. Ellis will have additional gas weapons ready. Everyone quickly got to work. Soon, the fleet moved toward the Andros colony. Tension was high, but so was the determination. To protect their people. As the Challenger arrived at Andros, the crew observed the colony's preparations. Defensive barriers rose quickly, soldiers trained tirelessly, and civilians moved to secure shelters. Laura personally inspected the preparations. On the ground, the colonists looked worried but hopeful. She spoke to them calmly, her presence giving them courage. Meanwhile, aboard the Challenger, Lieutenant Olivia Barnes carefully monitored scanners, alert for any sign of enemy ships. Captain, Olivia finally reported, tension clear in her voice. Varakian ships detected. They're approaching rapidly. Laura hurried back to the Challenger, ready for the fight. All ships, prepare for battle, she commanded firmly. The human fleet moved into defensive formation, blocking the path to Andros. Moments later, Varakian ships appeared, their presence intimidating. Massive vessels designed purely for destruction. Surged forward aggressively, the battle erupted instantly. Human ships maneuvered skillfully, countering the enemy's fierce attack. The Challenger led bravely, firing precise shots at key enemy targets. Explosions rocked the space around them. Yet, the Varakians pressed hard, breaking through parts of the human defensive line. Several ships took severe damage, drifting helplessly. Captain, they're targeting our command ship. Olivia reported anxiously. Laura reacted immediately. Protect Admiral Grant's vessel at all costs. Focus our fire. The Challenger and surrounding. Ships rallied fiercely, forming a protective barrier around the Admiral's ship. They fought courageously, pushing the Varakians back temporarily. Despite this, the Varakians persisted. Suddenly, alarms blared aboard the Challenger. Varakian landing parties heading for Andros. Olivia warned urgently. Laura quickly contacted Kyle, who commanded ground forces on Andros. Commander, prepare for an attack. Varakian troops incoming. Understood, Kyle responded immediately. On the colony's surface, he swiftly organized soldiers and set defenses. Varakian shuttles landed swiftly, and brutal fighting erupted on the colony grounds. Kyle's forces met them bravely, determined to protect their homes. Gunfire and explosions echoed across the landscape. Laura monitored the situation carefully, worried yet confident in Kyle's leadership. Meanwhile, Dr. Hannah Ellis's gas weapons were rapidly deployed by fighter squadrons, targeting Varakian ships effectively. The gas weapons caused significant disruption. Enemy vessels began slowing, their systems compromised. Seeing this, Laura pressed their advantage. Push forward now, she ordered decisively. Disable as many as possible. The fleet responded instantly, attacking aggressively. Varakian ships faltered, vulnerable to human tactics. Slowly, the enemy fleet's strength weakened. On Andros, Kyle led fierce resistance. Olivia coordinated precision strikes from orbit, aiding the ground forces significantly. The Varakians, though powerful, were gradually losing momentum. Finally, the enemy began retreating, withdrawing their remaining forces. Human fighters chased them briefly, ensuring they would not return soon. Laura exhaled deeply, relief flooding her. The Andros colony was safe for now. She contacted Kyle immediately. Commander, status report? Kyle's voice, though weary, was strong. We secured the colony. Casualties are heavy, but we held the line. Laura nodded, grateful for their success. Well done. Let's begin repairs and secure the area. The Challenger crew and colony residents quickly worked together to recover. Everyone knew the war was far from over, but they had proven once again their ability to stand firm against the fiercest enemy. That night, Laura stood quietly at the observation window, looking toward the stars. Admiral Grant joined her, thoughtful. We won today, Grant said quietly. But how many more battles will it take? Laura turned to him, resolve in her eyes. As many as necessary. We've shown the Varakians our strength. Eventually, they'll realize. Humanity can't be defeated easily. Grant nodded slowly, confidence returning to his expression. Together, they knew the struggle would continue, but humanity would never back down. With the Varakians momentarily pushed back, Captain Laura Bennett and the crew of the Challenger took advantage of the calm. Earth needed urgent repairs, and the fleet was badly damaged. Despite the victory, Laura knew this was just the beginning of a long war. The Challenger docked at the massive orbital station above Earth. Technicians immediately rushed to fix the damage from the intense battle. The crew had barely any time to rest. Everyone knew the Varakians would strike again soon. Laura met with Admiral Lucas Grant aboard the station. The Admiral looked tired, but determination still shone in his eyes. They gathered around a large table displaying a map of the galaxy. We can't wait for them to attack again, Admiral Grant said seriously. We need to take the fight to them. Laura nodded firmly. Agreed. The Varakians expect us to remain defensive. A counterattack could catch them off guard. Admiral Grant pointed to several locations on the map. Our allies from other planets are willing to support us. Ambassador Nathan Cole has already been contacting them. That's good news, Laura said thoughtfully. A united front will make us stronger. Precisely, Grant replied. But we must act quickly. We have identified a key Varakian outpost. If we can capture it, we'll gain valuable information about their movements. Laura stood straight, ready to face the next challenge. When do we depart, Admiral? Tomorrow, Admiral Grant said decisively. Prepare your crew. Back on the Challenger, Laura addressed her team. Commander Kyle Brooks, Lieutenant Olivia Barnes, and Major Natalie Price listened carefully as she outlined the plan. "We'll lead an assault on the Varakian outpost at Arvos," Lara explained. "It's heavily defended, but capturing it will greatly weaken their forces." Kyle glanced at the hologram of Arvos, his eyes focused. "What kind of resistance are we expecting?" "Heavy," Lara admitted honestly. "But we have the element of surprise. Plus, Dr. Hannah Ellis's gas weapons will help significantly." Olivia nodded, understanding the importance of the mission. "We'll be ready, Captain." Early the next day, the Challenger led a fleet of human and allied ships toward Arvos. Lara stood confidently on the bridge, closely monitoring their approach. The journey was tense but smooth. Soon, Arvos appeared on their screens, a bleak and rocky planet surrounded by Varakian defenses. "They haven't detected us yet," Olivia reported softly. "We still have surprise on our side." Lara issued her commands carefully. "Launch the fighters. Focus on disabling their defenses quickly." Major Natalie Price led the fighter squadron skillfully. They attacked with precision, targeting the enemy's weapons and defensive systems. Explosions lit the darkness of space as Varakian defenses faltered under the unexpected attack. "Captain, their orbital defenses are weakening," Olivia announced. Excitedly, "Now's our chance." Lara turned to Kyle. "Commander, prepare ground forces for landing." "Understood," Kyle responded clearly. He swiftly assembled a team, including Olivia, Mark Evans, and a group of well-trained soldiers. The shuttle descended rapidly, evading enemy fire. Once on the surface, Kyle led his team cautiously toward the Varakian facility. The landscape was harsh, filled with jagged rocks and dark caves. Varakian soldiers appeared, ready to defend their outposts fiercely. Kyle's team fought bravely. Gunfire echoed loudly across the rocky terrain. Olivia and Mark used precise cover fire, allowing the team to move forward slowly. The Varakians fought hard but were gradually overwhelmed by human determination and teamwork. Inside the outpost, the fighting intensified. Kyle skillfully directed his soldiers, pushing deeper into enemy territory. Olivia carefully secured key points, ensuring no Varakians could ambush them from behind. Finally, the team reached the control room. Kyle quickly disabled the security systems, allowing Olivia to access the Varakian database. She downloaded crucial information swiftly. "Commander," Olivia said urgently, "the data shows their entire fleet movement. This is exactly what we needed." "Excellent," Kyle replied, relief in his voice. "Let's get this back to the Challenger." On their way out, they faced heavy resistance once more. Mark was injured, but Kyle and Olivia helped him move. Their determination never wavered. Back aboard the Challenger, Lara reviewed the captured data with Admiral Grant. Their victory had been costly, but the information obtained was invaluable. "This changes everything," Admiral Grant said seriously. "Now we know exactly where they'll strike next." Lara nodded confidently, "And we'll be ready for them." She stood quietly, gazing out into space, knowing their hardest battles were still ahead. But now, humanity had hope. They had shown the galaxy that even the fiercest predators could be defeated by courage and unity. The space battle raged fiercely around Earth. Human ships maneuvered quickly, firing relentlessly. Varakian vessels, massive and intimidating, pressed forward aggressively, their weaponry devastatingly effective. Despite this, humanity refused to yield. On board the Challenger, Captain Lara Bennett remained focused. She watched her screens carefully, constantly giving orders to evade enemy fire and counterattack. Her determination inspired her crew, who executed her commands flawlessly. "Captain," Lieutenant Olivia Barnes called urgently from her station, "our shields are weakening. If we keep taking hits like this, we'll lose power." Lara nodded sharply. "Kyle, can we reinforce the shields with auxiliary power?" "Commander Kyle." Brooks quickly checked his controls. "Yes, but we'll need to sacrifice some speed." "Do it," Lara said firmly. "Better slower than destroyed." Kyle adjusted the power settings. The Challenger slowed slightly, but the shield stabilized. The crew breathed slightly easier, even as explosions lit the darkness of space around them. In the ship's laboratory, Dr. Hannah Ellis worked urgently, assisted by a young technician named Mark Evans. Hannah knew they needed to act quickly to exploit the Varakian weakness she discovered. "We must finish this gas weapon," Hannah said urgently. "It might be our only chance." Mark handed her a chemical mixture carefully. "Doctor, will this really stop them?" Hannah nodded firmly. "It should at least slow them down significantly." Back on the bridge, Laura communicated with Admiral Lucas Grant. His image flickered on her screen, slightly distorted by the chaos of battle. "Captain Bennett," Grant said clearly, "we're holding our lines, but the Varakians are relentless. If your doctor's weapon isn't ready soon, we may not last." "Understood, Admiral," Laura replied confidently. "Dr. Ellis is working on it. We'll deploy as soon as possible." Suddenly, alarms sounded again. Olivia's voice was sharp and concerned. "Captain, more Varakian ships incoming." "A second wave." Laura's stomach tightened. "Adjust our formation. Get ready to engage." The Varakian reinforcements surged forward aggressively. Human ships struggled against the sheer force of the attack. Several Allied ships took heavy damage, drifting helplessly in space. Laura remained calm, giving precise orders. "Olivia, focus fire on their lead ships. Kyle, maintain our defensive position. We must hold." Olivia skillfully targeted the Varakian vessels. Her precise strikes slowed their advance, buying precious time for the fleet. Meanwhile, Hannah Ellis finished her weapon prototype. She contacted the bridge immediately. "Captain, the gas weapon is ready. We can test it now." Laura exhaled in relief. "Excellent, Doctor. How do we deploy it?" "The weapon must be fired directly into their ventilation systems," Hannah explained clearly. "It's risky but effective." "Understood," Laura said decisively. "Kyle, prepare a small fighter squadron. They'll deliver this weapon." Kyle quickly relayed the orders. Soon, a group of fighter pilots assembled, led by experienced pilot Major Natalie Price. She was tough, focused, and determined. "We're ready, Captain," Natalie said firmly. "We'll make sure this works." Laura nodded proudly. "Good luck, Major." The fighter squadron launched swiftly, weaving expertly through the intense space battle. They approached a massive Varakian ship, its weapons firing fiercely at human forces. Natalie skillfully maneuvered her fighter. Enemy fire exploded around her, but she stayed calm, guiding her squadron closer. "Focus on the ventilation ports," Natalie instructed her team clearly. "We only have one shot at this." The fighters positioned themselves perfectly. Under heavy enemy fire, Natalie aimed precisely and released a gas weapon. It entered the ventilation system and dispersed quickly inside the Varakian vessel. At first, nothing happened. The crew aboard the Challenger held their breath, watching anxiously. Then, suddenly, the Varakian ship faltered. Its weapons ceased firing. The powerful vessel drifted, helpless. "Captain," Olivia reported excitedly, "it worked. The Varakian ship is disabled." Laura felt a surge of hope. "Inform the fleet immediately. Prepare more gas weapons." In Spire, the human fleet rallied, using their new advantage. Hannah and Mark rapidly produced additional gas weapons. Fighter squadrons delivered them skillfully, disabling several more enemy vessels. Slowly, the tide turned in humanity's favor. Varakian ships, confused and weakened, retreated or became easy targets. The battle intensity gradually decreased, and hope returned to human forces. By the battle's end, Earth's fleet stood victorious but weary. Laura surveyed the screens, relieved but cautious. She knew this was just one victory in a longer war. Yet, it was a crucial step. Laura spoke clearly to her crew, pride evident in her voice. "Today we proved we can fight back. Together, we faced down a fierce enemy and emerged victorious. We've shown the Varakians humanity will never surrender." The crew cheered, their spirits lifted. determined to face whatever challenges awaited them next. Back aboard the Challenger, Captain Laura Bennett paced the command deck. The image of Aurora's destruction haunted her. The Varakians were brutal and merciless. They left nothing behind but terror and death. Laura knew humanity was now facing its greatest threat yet. Commander Kyle Brooks approached her cautiously. "Captain, the survivors are safe in Medical Bay. Dr. Hannah Ellis is taking care of them." Laura nodded slowly. "How many did we manage to rescue?" "Just 10, Kyle said, his voice tight. "Out of hundreds." Laura clenched her fists. The weight of that loss pressed heavily on her shoulders. They needed to act quickly to stop this threat before it spread further. "Captain," Olivia Barnes called from her station, her voice urgent. "We're receiving a message from Earth Command. They need a status update." Laura approached the communication station and faced the screen. A weary-looking Admiral Lucas Grant appeared, his expression grave. "Captain Bennett, we've heard about Aurora. What's your current situation?" "Sir, Aurora is gone," Laura replied solemnly. "The Varakians attacked without warning. We rescued a few survivors, but the colony is lost." Admiral Grant took a deep breath, visibly shaken. "This confirms our worst fears. The Varakians have declared war on humanity. We must respond swiftly, return to Earth immediately. We must prepare for battle." "Understood," Laura answered firmly. The screen went dark, leaving a heavy silence on the deck. The Challenger set course for Earth at top speed. During the journey, the crew worked tirelessly. They trained, prepared their weapons, and studied every piece of information they could find on the Varakians. The ship buzzed with nervous energy. In the ship's laboratory, Dr. Hannah Ellis closely examined samples collected from the fallen Varakian. Laura visited her, hoping for some good news. "Dr. Ellis, have you learned anything useful?" "Laura?" As Hannah looked up from her microscope, her eyes intense. "They're incredibly strong and fast. Their bodies can withstand extreme damage, but they're not invincible. I found a weakness." Laura's eyes lit up with hope. "Tell me." "Their respiratory system is sensitive," Hannah explained. "They need a specific gas mixture. If we disrupt that, they'll weaken quickly." "Can we weaponize this?" Laura asked. "Possibly," Hannah said. "But we need more research. And we'll need a way to deliver the gas effectively." "Keep working on it," Laura encouraged. "This could be our best chance." Meanwhile, Commander Kyle Brooks gathered the crew in the briefing room to share battle strategies. He stood in front of a large holographic display of Earth and surrounding space. "We know the Varakians prefer direct combat," Kyle explained clearly. "They underestimate their opponents because they're so confident. We can use that against them." "How?" Olivia asked eagerly. "By setting traps and ambush," Kyle said. "We draw them into situations they can't control." The crew listened carefully, absorbing every word. The stakes were high, and each crew member understood the risks they faced. Yet, no one backed down. As the Challenger approached Earth, tension filled the ship. Earth Command had assembled a fleet, preparing defenses around the planet. Admiral Grant had coordinated forces from different human colonies. It was the largest human fleet ever gathered. When Laura saw Earth again, her heart swelled with pride and fear. Dozens of ships stood ready, their weapons primed. Earth itself was heavily fortified. Defensive satellites orbited the planet, ready to unleash devastating firepower. The Challenger joined the fleet formation, awaiting further orders. Laura stood on the command deck, watching the monitors intently. Suddenly, alarms blared. "Varakian! Ships detected!" Olivia shouted urgently. "They're heading straight toward us." The fleet moved into position, following their battle plans. Laura gave the order, her voice steady despite the pressure. "All ships, prepare for combat. Engage the enemy." As the Varakian ships emerged from hyperspace, a fierce battle erupted. Human ships maneuvered quickly, firing their weapons. Explosions filled the darkness of space. Varakian ships charged aggressively, trying to break through Earth's defenses. Captain Laura Bennett directed the Challenger skillfully, dodging enemy fire while striking back fiercely. The ship trembled from impacts but held strong. Amidst the chaos, Laura focused clearly. She knew humanity's survival depended on their courage and quick thinking. She rallied her crew, their determination matching hers. "We hold the line here," Laura declared passionately. "We fight together for Earth." Her words ignited the crew's courage. They fought bravely, pushing back against the seemingly unstoppable predators. The fierce battle tested their limits, but they held firm, knowing their stand here would decide humanity's fate. Captain Laura Bennett stood quietly at the observation window of the Starship Challenger. Through the thick glass, she watched the distant planet Aurora slowly rotate beneath them. Aurora was supposed to be peaceful, a small human colony focused on farming and mining. But something had gone terribly wrong. Laura turned from the window, her face serious. Behind her, her crew members sat at their stations, waiting for her orders. They had received an emergency signal from Aurora. The message was short, panicked, and unclear. It simply said, "They're here. They're killing everyone. Send help immediately." Lieutenant Olivia Barnes, a young officer with sharp eyes and quick thinking, spoke first. "Captain, the scanners are picking up life signs, but they're scattered. There's evidence of fighting." Laura nodded. "Prepare a landing team. We need to see what happened down there." Commander Kyle Brooks stepped forward. He was tall and calm, the kind of man people trusted easily. "I'll lead the team, Captain." "I'll go too," said Laura firmly. "I want to see this myself." Kyle didn't argue. He knew better. Within minutes, Laura, Kyle, Olivia, and a group of soldiers boarded a small shuttle. As they descended through Aurora's atmosphere, they saw the colony clearly. Buildings were damaged, some still burning. Fields that had been lush and green were now charred and ruined. When the shuttle landed, Laura and her team stepped out cautiously. The air smelled like smoke and fear. They moved carefully through the colony, looking for survivors. "Stay alert," Laura warned softly. The silence was unsettling. She had seen battles before, but this felt different. "More brutal." Suddenly, Olivia stopped. She pointed at something near the edge of the road. Laura followed her gaze and felt her stomach tighten. It was a human body, lifeless and torn apart. "This wasn't just an attack," Kyle murmured. "This was a slaughter." They continued, their steps slower now. Soon they found a young woman hiding behind a storage unit, trembling with fear. Laura approached her gently. "You're safe now. We're here to help." The woman looked up, eyes wide with terror. "They came from nowhere," she whispered, her voice shaking. "We had no chance." "Who are they?" Kyle asked gently. The woman hesitated, clearly afraid even to speak the name. "Varakians." Laura felt a chill run down her spine. Everyone had heard of the Varakians. They were fierce, deadly predators, known throughout the galaxy for their ruthlessness. No one had successfully fought back against them yet. "Where are the others?" Laura asked. The woman shook her head sadly. "Most are gone. A few might still be hiding." Laura stood up, determined. "We need to find them, and quickly." As they moved deeper into the colony, more signs of violence appeared. Buildings were torn open, their interiors exposed. Equipment lay scattered and broken. The Varakians had left nothing untouched. Suddenly, a noise echoed from nearby. Kyle signaled everyone to stop. He motioned silently toward a damaged building. Carefully, Laura and her team approached, weapons ready. Inside, they found a man and two children huddled in a corner, scared but alive. The man looked at them, relief flooding his face. "Thank goodness you're here," he said weakly. "We thought no one would come." Laura knelt beside them, reassuring. "We won't leave anyone behind." "The Varakians," the man whispered, his voice haunted. "They're still here." Laura stood quickly. She felt it now, an uneasy feeling that they were being watched. She glanced around, her eyes sharp and wary. From the shadows, movement stirred. The team reacted immediately, their weapons aimed. Slowly, a shape stepped into the dim light. It was tall, powerful, and terrifying. A Varakian, its eyes glowing with menace. "Stay back," Laura warned sharply, aiming her weapon at the creature. It tilted its head, almost amused, then lunged forward. Gunfire erupted, loud and frantic. The Varakian was swift and powerful, but the humans fought back with desperate courage. Finally, the creature fell. Laura approached the fallen Varakian cautiously. Her heart was pounding, but she kept her fear hidden. She looked down at the predator, understanding the seriousness of what they face. "Captain," Olivia said urgently, pointing at the scanner. "There are more." Laura straightened, determination hardening her voice. "Get everyone back to the shuttle now." As they hurried away from the destruction, Laura knew this was just the beginning. The Varakians were strong, fierce, and relentless. Humanity faced a battle unlike any before. But they had no choice. They had to fight, or else the galaxy itself would fall into darkness.